You are listening to the official Reg Voice podcast brought to you by Dr. Mona Al-Musli, Managing Director and Co-founder at PRA Consultancy. Stay tuned for authentic conversations which will be addressed by healthcare experts from industry and regulatory authorities, emphasizing on recent industry topics, issues, and challenges. Reg Voice. Explore, inspire, learn.
As I always say, regulatory department is the heart of the organization. And if it's doing well, then all other departments are doing well. Good afternoon. My name is Mona Al-Musli. I'm the co-founder and managing director of PRA Consultancy. This is the 5th episode podcast, and this time for the next 30 minutes, we will be discussing the current regulation of biosimilars products in Egypt. All the details related to registrations, importations, deadlines, and eligible entities will be discussed. And now, with a great honor, I would like to introduce our great speaker expert, Dr. Asmaa Fouad Ismail. She is the head of General Administration of Biological Product at EDA. She had her B.Pharm from Cairo University in 2002, and she is a former head of biological registration at NORCB. Work in the registration of biological products since 2003 until today. She had participated in establishing the latest version of the biosimilar registration and guidelines, emergency use approval guidelines, and a team member of a registration group of National Project of Production, the Plasma for Fractionation. She is also a member of WHO Global Review Team for COVID-19 vaccine, which is really tough, and representing the Egyptian Health Authority as a speaker in many conferences. Good afternoon, Dr. Asmaa.
Good afternoon, Dr. Mona. Hello to you and to all the audience out there. Good morning and good afternoon.
Good morning and good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us today. Before starting the regulatory and regulation and all topics going into a regulatory, we would like to ask you about the EDA and how is it formed, Egyptian Drug Authority, and also the BioN, which is responsible for the biological. So if you can give us a history or feedback on that, that would be great.
First of all, EDA, the Egyptian Drug Authority, it is the organization, the authority, the health authority in Egypt, the only one responsible for the regulatory function for all drugs, including pharmaceutical, biological, and medical devices. It is a newly established entity per law in 151 for the year 2019. But it is established from already existing organizations taking control over biological and pharmaceutical and all other administrative entities responsible for regulatory functions in Egypt, where previously belonging to Ministry of Health. Now they are under the umbrella of Egyptian Drug Authority. The Egyptian Drug Authority consists mainly of 9 central administrations. One of them is the BioN, the Central Administration for Biological, Innovative, and Clinical Trials. The head of BioN is our colleague, Dr. Inji Hosari, and we are 3 general administration inside this central administration. I'm heading one of them, the General Administration of Biological Products. The administration I'm responsible for includes registration, lot release, lab testing, and technical support administration. That's a brief for our new organization and for the central administration included.
MashaAllah, that is a lot of responsibilities. So the first version of biosimilars registration and guideline was issued in 2015, and the new or latest version was issued last year only. Can we please know more? What's the difference between the two of them?
The new version of the guideline, as you mentioned, issued on the March 2020. Mainly includes updates in the regulatory parts, country-specific parts, by introduction of new timelines according to the need of the domestic manufacturers of biological in Egypt. It also introduction of new category of local products like those intended for formulation from imported concentrated, for example. We added this category in the local products categories. We also announced in this guideline version the one of the technical support services by EDA to our industry. This one is a scientific advice services. It is allowed to be given to developers of biosimilars during the development of local or domestic products in Egypt. It also updated the section of criteria of selection of reference product. The old version requested to be licensed in Egypt. It was eligible to choose a reference product that is licensed in Egypt, but in the new version we omitted this condition. It is only requested to be approved by stringent regulatory authority and approved in one of them. So these are the main differences between the two versions. I would like to highlight something that before issuing the final version of the guideline, we issued a draft for public consultation. This public consultation targeted mainly the industry, both the companies importing and those manufacturing. The public consultation lasts for almost one month. We received questions and queries, clarifications from them. We worked on updates and on the tuning of our draft before issuing it.
So, I like the idea of public consultation where you get from the market, and this is why we have done these sessions in Reg Voice, because always authority, when they listen from the market, they get the best of the practice out of it.
Yes, and as a new step toward this to have smarter regulations, we are now not only issuing the guidelines, the draft guidelines for public consultation, but we also issue them for drafting. We are drafting the guideline. We are piloting. We are piloting the guideline. We open a pilot phase for companies, for applicants to submit their products to be piloted in the draft guideline before issuing the final.
Bravo.
So a public consultation and piloting are both steps toward making more and more smarter regulations.
That's really a good thing that I believe all authorities has to do that, because it will help them to get the best practice out of it.
Yes.
And what is after doing all this practice and consultations happening, getting a new guidelines, what are the reflection on that on the market access? So if you can give us few figures and numbers, that would be great.
Actually, we have issued the guideline at the beginning of the pandemic, the year of the pandemic.
Yes. Unfortunately.
But we have increased number of requests to start the registration process through the new guidelines. We also received a number of scientific advice requests during development of manufacturing during development of local biosimilars. So the reflection mainly comes from the increased number. Also this year, as you know, and these 2 years, the main target went to vaccination and to biological products, mainly in this area of vaccination against COVID and treatment also. But there is an increase in number of submission of requests and handling the scientific advice of the biosimilar products manufactured.
And if we will say, because some of our clients who are not yet in Egypt market was asking, like, what is the eligible entity that can register a biological, or they have the influence to import even? I know that you might register with an entity and import with a different entity. So if you can tell us more about that.
The eligible entities to register and import, they should have what we say, like what we call it, pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies per law may be those who have scientific office, registered scientific office, or they have agency agreement from a global manufacturer, and they have an agency contract between them, or letter of authorization to represent the global marketing authorization holder in Egypt. And we have at EDA company profile section that the applicant should submit all these commercial and legal documents, but they are the permitted entities to get the licensing of biological or pharmaceutical is a pharmaceutical companies, either they were scientific office or agents or manufacturers themselves, like local ones.
So the scientific office can register a product. Will also, are they eligible to import, or they have to import via a medical store?
Medical stores are allowed by import permits. You have the license of storage facilities. You have to register the storage facility, and
but a scientific office cannot import. This is my question.
No, scientific office cannot import. They have an importer that is registered at ED.
Okay, so scientific office can register the biological products. However, while importation, they have to use a local licensed medical store from the authority.
Yes, from the authority gives them the registration of the importer and the storage facility.
Okay, going back to the regulation, and as this was a commercial topic, what are the main concepts which the guidelines adopt to follow the practices of quality, safety, efficacy of the product?
Of course, the international concepts adopted in such field are the stepwise approach and the totality of evidence. Both concepts are the international one we adopt at ETA, and we build our regulations based on these concepts. While at our guidelines, we have adopted several scientific guidelines, product-specific one, to evaluate safety, efficacy, and quality of the biosimilar, like EMA, FDA, ICH guidelines, and they are mentioned in details at the end of our regulations. They are product-specific or general one, but the main concept are, as I told you, the totality of evidence and the stepwise approach. And especially in domestic manufacturers, they develop starting from the CMC file, from pilot batches, then commercial scale batches, building the CMC files and evaluating the CMC file. After approval, they can go to comparability exercise against reference product, and then after approval, they can go to required clinical data, required clinical studies according to the type of the product, and so on. So it's stepwise approach and totality of evidence.
Which makes sense.
Yes. When they prove similarity on the level of quality, they can move on to the next step on the level of clinic.
Come on. With that hot topic that's going on in all Middle East and reliance topic, and that it's in the region where some countries or some authorities accept the other authorities' registration. How is it with the biological product? Do we have any reliance?
This is a general, yes. Let me tell you, Dr. Mona, this is a general, not only for biosimilar, but let us see in pandemic through the last 2 years, we all have seen the magic effect of reliance. Let's see the magic effect. Say the magic effect of reliance, especially in getting the emergency use approvals for vaccines used for vaccination against COVID, for even treatment, monoclonal antibodies used in treatment, new products, new state-of-the-art products that are not yet completed the clinical their clinical trial, but we give them emergency use approval based on evaluation of stringent, what we call it stringent regulatory authority we rely upon in decision taking. It was very effective, and from this experience, we decided at ETA to improve our practice in reliance to move forward towards smarter regulation by updating the good reliance practice guidelines and to stick more to the good reliance practices. We have the concept. We have the concept of reliance embedded at EDE even before the establishment of EDE as one entity since 2018. But by experience, we updated our practices. We have now draft guideline for a bridged and verification process. It is the one we are piloting now. We opened the pilot phase with manufacturers to submit their products to be piloted by this guideline. And by the end of the pilot phase, we will finalize our draft and issue them. So, for example, we can finalize the marketing authorization of those approved by, for example, EMA and FDA in 1 month, and those approved by one of these two authorities in 2 months, and so on.
Is there a list of this? Is there a list of this product? Are you stick with that list? Is there any new guidelines or an update on that list will happen soon?
We have the draft guideline for a bridged and verification process. It is a real reliance one, updated with new requirements, and we are participating with the applicant in Egypt in the pilot phase. It is expected to be finalized by the end of November, and by the end of the year we'll issue the final guideline after.
Very good.
Tuning and modification according to the experience. Yes.
This is a very good thing to know, because a lot of countries are waiting for that list to be announced, I think, and they have a new plans on the new year.
We have put the announcement of this trial phase, or this pilot phase, on our website to encourage applicants to submit.
Come on, very good. So we have now a few questions, which technically I was asked from people who's working with a biosimilar biological solid registrations. One of them says, what is happening now that you get an appointment from the authority, and you can, on that day, on the same appointment day, you can use a link to submit all the files, and there will be like 6 files, including quality, stability, PV, and all the files. So their question was, if we are getting an appointment to use the link, can we use the link for the next 2 days instead of 1 day, because uploading is taking a lot of time?
Let me tell you something that also it is a lesson learned from the remote working during the pandemic. And we used to submit hard copies, and we used to make face-to-face meetings, and that was changed by according to the current circumstances. We are now working by electronic submission. So we are shifting all the workflow from the normal way to the
online. Yes.
The
portal. Yes.
The automatic submission will, I believe that automatic submission will solve such technical problems, like the file is too big to be submitted through the link or the drive or whatever. By offering a secured platform, specially made to EDA, to registration, lot release, and even scientific and even technical support administration and at the biological product administration. By securing the automatic submission, we will solve such kind of problems. The size of the files is why but we take appointment. We will stick to appointment, so it is an internal organization of work. We secure also the fair distribution among assessors. So it's an internal organization for us.
Yeah, as a consultant, Doctor, I understand very well that we should be organized on the timeline and the timetable. So I understand that you might still in the phase that you want to give an appointment to people to make sure that your people on time giving the files as well. However, their question was, is it okay to submit the file within 2 days, or we have to submit it on the same date of the appointment? This was
on the same day of the appointment to internally, as I told you, organize the distribution.
So it has to be on the same day.
It has to be on the same day. But if there is any technical issue resulting from the submission in one day, I believe it will be resolved
okay.
by the automation and the digital transformation. We are targeting at EDA all functions performed at EDA to be digitally transformed into automatic, more fast and more secure force platforms.
But the question, just to reconfirm, that you have to submit on the date of the appointment to make sure that we are aligned and the people can answer you on time and there will be no delay afterwards.
Yes, exactly.
And what about later on when we have a full portal? Still people will need to get an appointment on, or are you going to resolve that?
Yes, the fulfillment of our requirements also need appointment, and it's also another part of our internal organization work. Yes,
which is understood because you want to make sure that people are getting the replies on. Because if you will open it, I believe you will get more than 500 files per day.
And by the new regulations of registration of biologicals as a whole, not only biosimilars, we changed our workflow to receive all the 5 parts, not step by step, and that's I see it's
a positive
step. Yes, it's a positive step. So we also announced our requirements. So as we know, good submission practice equal good revision practice. When the awareness of our requirements, and we are doing workshops with industry, continuous engagement with industry through these workshops to illustrate more and more about our requirements. They understand our requirement, they practice the good submission, and we practice the good revision. And other things like appointments and dates and so on, it's an organization for both of us.
Yes, I agree, totally agree. The other question says, when they submit the files and all went well, and they want to get a post-meeting from the authority, sometimes they have 2 points. Sometimes the Ministry of Health reply or post-meeting is not very clear. In that stage, or if they have a question, what they have to do?
First of all, the Ministry of Health, we are.
Sorry. I mean authority of registration. Sorry, because yes. So the EDA will reply for them. Yeah. So EDA or the regulatory authority will reply for them. However, sometimes the reply is not clear, and they have a question on that. On that part, how they can sort it out, who they can connect
excuse me, how
So let me put it in a different way. If the people submit the files, and after submission the files, they got a post-meeting notes from the regulatory authority. So in that case, they need to understand more about this information or this missing document or this missing information, how they can go back and ask, because it's not always clear for them what has been asked.
The assessors at EDA, those who are evaluating the different parts of the dossier, are always in engagement with applicants, either by and especially mainly depending now on emails. And emails are daily. Have daily response. So we have a specific unit for answering the emails and giving replies on inquiries of the applicant.
So the way to communicate with them is via email. This is the most effective.
This is the most effective and the fastest route. While again, the automation of the workflow will adopt this chat box in which we can be always in continuous engagement with them.
Okay, well noted. The other question on the same part. So if they have any post-meeting or error or rejection, and they want to resubmit, they know that they have to submit all the files again, which I understood that is wrong. They have to submit only the part that is error or rejected or the information, right? Not the whole registration has to be done again.
No, it's not. If we rejected the file for 1 or 2 items only, And it was clear for the applicant, he is allowed to submit the two missed parts separately.
Okay.
And
So
they don't have to withdraw the whole file.
Okay.
But
so they
cases,
can comply or resubmit what is missing if it is one or two. But in some cases, of course, if you have 10 or 20 things, he should do it from the beginning.
Yes. And if he submitted after a long time, after a long period, from our opinion, and it may have changes during development or variations from in the country of origin or whatever reason, according to this reason, the file may change completely. So it is case by case. We don't oblige them to withdraw the whole file and submit a new file. We don't oblige them for this. If a minor or one or two items are missed, they are allowed to submit these two items.
It's clear. And when they have any lack of justification or more information, the best and faster route is their email. This is well noted. The other question says that after registering the product and getting the certificates, every time they want to ship, usually for the generic and other pharmaceutical product, they send the reference and the lab assessment analysis requirements with the shipment for the first 3 shipments. Why do we have to do for every shipment and not only the first 3 shipments for the biologicals?
Now we are leaving the registration and moving to the batch release. Yes, the batch release, the lot release has its own policy. And for recombinant product or biosimilar, if you are asking about biosimilar, we are categorizing the product according to risk. It's a risk-based approach policy. The risk-based policy, we are categorizing the products. Like for example, vaccines are of high to moderate risk. Every batch received have to be analyzed. Local products as well. Whatever the type of the product was, but if it's local, we are the authority, the only authority. We don't have another authority to rely on, so we analyze to release the batch. But for one of the concepts of the risk-based is the reliance. So if it is registered and marketed and approved in the country of origin, after registration, we have to analyze the first 3 batches.
Yes, this is usually in almost all the countries it's happening. But what they are saying that for biosimilars, they are not accepting only 3 batches. It is every time you submit and get a shipment.
We are doing this only after registration, and when it passes the testing and no problem in the first 3 batches, we change the category of the risk of the product, the biosimilar product, to a lower category.
So it has the same.
Yes, excuse me.
So it's the same as the other pharmaceutical and generic products, right?
Yes, something.
It's the same regulation.
Yes, but it reduced a lot. Before issuing this policy, we were performing tests for all batches shipped to Egypt. After the policy, it is only 1 year old policy. After the policy, it changed a lot, and it increases the burden on the labs, and it increased the market access and increased the release rate. And we are about to update the policy also, by the way. After the first year, we have an annual update for the policy. And all the comments will be considered in the new version.
I am amazed with the hard work and a lot of things happening for the last few years in Egypt, since I'm working with regulatory for a long time. It's a booming, they are doing a new regulations, a lot of efforts has been done. Also, the people who's working are more. I remember there is in a stage where we have less people, so we cannot comply with everything in the market happening. Now with more employment, more people involved, the new strategy of getting the public in as a consultation, I mean, it's a lot of efforts. No one can say no. And mashallah, you're doing very great job.
Thank you,
Dr. This was the last question from my side. I'll just have a quick they were asking where to download quick questions that we have received. Where to download the latest biosimilar guidelines from?
From our website. I will send you the link. And of course, if you just go in search the web for the EDA website, the official website, it has the list of our legal provisions and starting from the ministerial decrees till the regulations and the guidance to applicants, everything.
Okay. Another question says, from the manufacturer outside Egypt, if they want to register a biosimilar with the authority, do they require to establish a scientific office, or they can do everything via their local distributor?
Scientific office, or as I told you, an agent with an agency agreement with a legalized agency.
So distributor can.
Between the representative.
Doctor, I think you are muted.
And the MA holder in the country of origin.
Doctor, I think you are muted. Sorry, we cannot hear you. You are muted.
Muted? Excuse me.
Yes.
No, not
again.
muted.
Hello, again. We got you again. Yes. So any distributor, or they have to establish a scientific office, or an authorized representative has to be there.
Authorized representative with an agency agreement between this representative and the MA holder and the country of origin. It's not is enough to legally be represented in front of the authority.
I have a very specific question regarding biosimilar product. We are a UAE entity who has a license of biosimilar from a EU manufacturer for a wholesale in the Middle East and Africa. Can we register the same in Egypt using the CPP of Europe? The EU CPP will mention EU manufacturer and MAH UAE.
But not the EU manufacturer. We ask for the CPP to ensure the stringent regulatory authority oversight. If we ask for a CPP from EMA, for example, we have to stick to the manufacturers approved by EMA. If the CPP does not mention this manufacturer, so it will not be included. In which country? We have some countries listed to rely on their authorities, and some are not. So we have to do inspection to the manufacturing side, and many other regulatory actions we take in such cases. But if we are talking about the CPP from EMA, so we stick to the manufacturers, to the manufacturing side listed in this CPP.
And this the CPP.
And this and by this we can rely.
I agree. That is yes. So we got at the end of our session today. Thank you for giving us this time. I know you are so busy person. We have been trying for the last week to speak 10 minutes on the phone, and we could not do that. Thank you very much for your efforts and all the authority offers. Of course, all the EDA is thankful for their efforts and what's happening. Thank you for people who attending us live. Thank you for Oshan for your good message and nice message. And we'll see you all soon. Inshallah, next time we will see you in person, maybe in Egypt, Victoria.
Inshallah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allah.